Much like many others, every October, I tend to take a trip to the pumpkin patch. My family has created a tradition out of it, as I'm sure is the case for many of you, and we have entire nights dedicated to everyone getting together to see who can create the most perfect jack-o'-lantern. We all enjoy this tradition, most of us seeing it as our favorite part of the holiday. Everyone except my dad, that is. He never seemed to be around for our jack-o'-lantern carvings, spending the time either at his favorite dive bar or down in his man cave watching whatever football game was on. This year, while driving through the countryside, I noticed a raggedy sign just off the side of the road. Make your Halloween special at John's Pumpkin Farm. Take the next right and meet your perfect pumpkin, was etched in bright, cartoonish lettering, accompanied by a skeleton with a jack-o'-lantern skull. I'd never seen this sign before. Not only that, but I'd never even heard of a John's Pumpkin Farm. I figured, why the heck not? I might as well give it a try. It's not like I have to buy anything. Making the turn, I felt the Halloween spirit rush through me as I drove past rows upon rows of tall oak trees, shedding their summer leaves. Driving on, I approached another sign. John's Pumpkin Farm coming up. Next right and through the gate. Right as I passed, the sight of two monstrous wooden gate doors caught my eye. They had been painted to look like a giant jack-o'-lantern staring back at oncoming customers. Cute, I thought. Perfect greeting. Approaching the gate, I pulled right up beside the speaker that had been planted firmly in the ground. From it came the chipper voice of a young woman. Welcome to John's Pumpkin Farm. Please state your name and business. This struck me as odd. Donovan, I'm just here to look at your pumpkins. Perfect. Please pull right on through, Donovan. The heavy gate doors creaked and swung open, revealing thousands, and I mean thousands, of the most perfect-looking pumpkins I had ever seen. Each one plump and brilliantly orange, with precisely trimmed stems poking out from their round heads. My eyes lit up with amazement as my car filled with a dull orange hue. At the head of the field stood a shack with the company branding engraved across the top. John's Pumpkin Shack. Assuming that's where the voice from the speaker had come from, I approached the quaint little building. I was befuddled to find that the entire place seemed to be empty. No lights, no sound, and not a soul in sight. I called out into the dark shack and received no answer. Suddenly, I felt a cold hand press firmly against my left shoulder, causing me to jump. Well, hello! Oh, sorry about that, friend. Didn't mean to startle you. I'm John, owner of this here pumpkin farm. You must be Donovan, I presume? The man was about my height, balding, and had this deep scent of candy apples coming from him. He wore a stained white t-shirt covered by overalls and had a bit of a potbelly that protruded his clothing. Yep, that's me. Nice to meet you, John. This is quite a farm you got here. You know, he said nervously, using a rag to wipe the grease from his face. Farm's a farm. Now, obviously, you're here for the pumpkins, right? What say we go find you the perfect one? I agreed, and off we went, deep into the patch. John basically guided me, seemingly knowing exactly where he was going before stopping abruptly. How tall might you be, Donovan? I was a bit taken aback by this question. 6 even. Why? I figured as much. About the same height as myself. Wait. 149? Now that can't say we're the same on, he laughed. All right, let me just see here. Yep, here we go. Follow me. He led me to what could only be described as the best pumpkin I could ever dream of. Its seams were perfectly symmetrical. The roundness almost looked lab-made in its creation. Look about right to you? he asked. That's perfect. Yep, that's what they all tell me. How much would this run me? I questioned. For you? On the house. We got a promotion going for first-timers, and we anticipate you'll be satisfied enough to return. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I mean, I know pumpkins are cheap as is, but for something this magnificent, so excellently crafted, I felt like I had just struck gold. The uncarved pumpkin weighed at least 75 pounds, so John helped me lug the thing back into the parking lot. Arriving at the vehicle, John then laid another piece of information onto me. Now, I'm sure you know this here's a special pumpkin. Whatever you do not carve it. I felt my heart drop into my stomach as the words fell from his mouth. Got it. May I ask why? John had begun to sweat profusely, wiping it away with the rag from earlier. This pumpkin knows exactly what it wants, Donovan. Its design was predetermined in its creation. Any work you do on it will pale in comparison to the work it'll do on itself. His eyes had gone dark and focused as he appeared as though he were trembling slightly. Don't carve it, Donovan. Don't carve that pumpkin. He kept repeating these words to me as I got into my car, and then began to scream them at me as I started backing out of the parking lot. Once I made it home, I explained the experience to my parents. My mom saw it as just some crazy pumpkin farmer who had been just a tad bit off his rocker. My dad, however, had all the color drained completely from his face. He seemed to withdraw from the conversation and conceal himself in his bedroom. We didn't see him for the rest of the night, and by the next morning, I grew worried for him. My mom told me he was feeling under the weather, but I knew that this went beyond sudden sickness. I watched his face drop the moment I mentioned my pumpkin. So I approached him. Dad? Is there anything you want to tell me? Do you know what John's pumpkin farm is? He physically shivered at the name before covering his face with his hands. You mean the patch of 1,000 lost souls? He replied eerily. I felt my blood run cold at his anxiety. What does that even mean? Do you not think that sounds just a tiny bit ridiculous? My father threw his TV remote violently across the room, shattering it against the wall. I was there, Donovan. Do you not understand that? I prayed to God every year that this wouldn't happen, but it has. It has, and there's nothing, not a thing I can do about it. His anger stunned me. Though I guess it wasn't anger. He knew what was coming. He knew that my fate had been sealed. I knew better, Donovan. I knew better than to make the mistake of buying that pumpkin. I felt it in my soul, the carnage that it would bring. I love you, son. Don't forget that. He was now rocking back and forth, crying. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. How? I burned the place down years ago. How? With that, I left him alone and retreated to my room. Look, I'm writing this now because I took that pumpkin 3 days ago. Yet, already, I can see the outline of my own face, magically appearing in its orange flesh more and more with each passing day. I can feel the skin from my face peeling, and I wake up with slabs of flesh beside me on my bed. I've started getting morning sickness, and every time I puke, I see the disgusting, slimy orange guts of a pumpkin falling from my mouth, while my pumpkin continues to grow more and more lifelike. I can feel myself fading. and I'm afraid. Please, I'm begging you all, do not go to John's pumpkin farm, where souls are replaced and humans come to suffer. Please, control yourself. Thank you so much for listening to my narration of this wonderful story. Don't forget to support the author, which I have linked in the description, as well as the original story. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my patrons, Scott, Old Penguin, Ellie Hutmeyer, Mr. Sankofa, Austin My Love, Rinku Star, William Hartley, Cupcake Hips, Alonzo, Icy Narrates, Jesse Hartley, Eric Cifuentes, Lawrence Wallen, and Melissa Perez. I also try to link a different charity or a different cause every month and maybe a little more. So don't forget to check out the description to support the author of the story you just listened to and to maybe help somebody else out, even if it's just $1. As always, if you guys have a prayer request, please let me know in the comments. Shoot me a message on Discord. I would love to know how I can be praying for you. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.